Welcome to Twin Cities Leaders. I'm your host, Kevin King, and thank you for joining me today on this week's episode. You will notice that this week I am hosting solo, and that's for a reason. I wanted to take a step back. We're at the midway point of the second season of Twin Cities Leaders, and I just wanted to do a reflection on what we've done thus far, the first half of the season, really how you have made such an impact on the podcast and on me. And I just wanted to get on here and share some thoughts that I have about the first half of the season, what's going to happen the second half of the season, and just for you to continue to get to learn more about me as your host. So whether this is your first time listening or you're catching up on some of the first five episodes that are out right now, this will be a good time just to listen in and hear my thoughts on this podcast. So and I want to take some questions from people as well. So I've been asking people. Is there things that they would like to know about the podcast? And then sometimes just in general conversation, people ask me questions about it. And so I wanted to answer all of your questions. So one of the first questions I often get is what's my why? Like, why did I start this podcast? And the reason, or the answer is simple. I've done a lot of leadership work throughout my career, whether it be in a collegiate setting as a professor, working as a consultant, or being a tennis coach, or any of the ventures that I've been a part of. And I'm always been fascinated with creating teams, like creating culture, and what do leaders do to or people do to create these environments that people want to be successful in and want to be around. And I do that all the time in my classes. I've been doing it for probably the past 15 years intentionally, of looking at my classes like a team. And everything that we do in our classroom is not just me delivering lectures and them, taking tests and doing projects and grading assignments. I wanted something more. I wanted uh, it to feel like a community. I wanted my students to feel like they were part of something special, that it was more than just coming to class and learning about whatever particular title of the class is for. And I've been really successful in doing that, and I've gotten a lot of feedback over the course of the years that has resonated with students, and they really enjoy that part of being in my classes. And then I've been able to translate that into coaching. I started coaching tennis, high school boys and girls tennis at Woodbury High School. I coached the girls C team, the freshman team, and this is my second season with that team. And same principles, building culture, building trust, being, having fun, building community, learning how to play tennis, but also to learning leadership lessons and how to persevere and overcome things and get better at things as you move forward. But become part of something that's special and memorable, so that a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it doesn't matter, that they have a really good experience and they can look back at their time on that team as special, and that they got better at tennis, but also too was able to build a community. Um, so I so I enjoy that. I really enjoy doing those things. In the consulting space, when someone brings me in for a period of time to help change culture, build culture, maintain a culture, establish a culture, again, this is what it all starts with. It starts with relationship building. I enjoy getting to know people. I enjoy talking to all different kinds of individuals from different walks of life. So having a podcast is very organic for me to have these discussions. And so I wanted to create this platform as an extension of a brand, of really my brand, of who I am as a professor, as a leadership consultant, as a coach, as a model, and now as a podcaster. And I wanted to tell stories, um, and highlight individuals in different spaces, that enjoy, that type of work that type of work resonates with them. They like building culture, they like being around creating successful teams, they enjoy being around people, helping people grow and learn, and get better. And so the podcast is really rooted in education. Right? Like, that's the DNA of me is to educate people and to help people get better at, whatever they're needing to work on, and in this case, oftentimes, it's leadership. But you will know if you're in a space where you're, teaching and developing, anyone that you know that it's not just about you teaching everyone. It's about you learning and listening and building and receiving feedback and enjoying each other's company. Like it's more than just teaching. So it's rooted in education because of my background, and I really enjoy the storytelling telling part of it. So this podcast, that's what this podcast is about. This season, um, I'm doing it solo. The first season, I had a co-host, as I mentioned before, and I learned a lot, that first season. But this season, really my focus has been is that I wanted to tell stories, or what multi-dimensional leadership looks like. Because oftentimes when people think of leadership, they think of it as maybe a dry topic, a boring topic, or a business topic, or an always serious topic. And I wanted to show what leadership looks like in spaces that maybe you aren't, functioning in or involved in, or maybe you don't know about, just because you're in your own space. And that's normal because, like I live in the education space, but I've been fortunate enough to have experiences not only in education as a professor, an educator, but I've been able to have, be in spaces like being a model. And so, like, understanding, what does leadership entail in creative spaces when you're working with models or photographers or designers or editors or journalists, or you're putting on a fashion show, or you're working with makeup artists and hairstylists and just stylists who dress individuals. And so I wanted to tap into that. And then as a coach, as a tennis coach, I wanted to tap into that as well and have conversations with coaches, about how do they lead, and how do they create culture, and what are some of the things that they're doing in their spaces. I had talked to Brian Sprout in our first season. He is the head baseball coach at East Ridge High School in Woodbury, and he had won back-to-back state championships in the past 3 out of 5 when I spoke with him. Um, but that was interesting to me. You know what I mean? I wanted to talk to not a coach that maybe is a professional coach or whatever, but a coach that's rooted in the community and that is helping young people, um, develop leadership skills and also to develop as baseball players. And so I wanted to tap into that space. I wanted to tap into, so I had, spoke with, yeah, included a superintendent, Julie Nielsen, in that space as well. Um, so this season, I want to continue with that. I spoke with um, a professor, Dr. Sarah Rand, at St. Kate's University on AI in higher education, because that's something that I am involved in every single day for the past really 20 years of my career as a professor. And so I wanted to talk about the AI landscape and how, it was, how it looked in higher education and what we can do as educators and professors to create guardrails and work around that. So I wanted to tap into the higher education part. You may not know that I am a president of my HOA here where I live in Woodbury, and so I wanted to talk to like a community leader, and so Mayor Ann Burt was someone, the mayor of Woodbury, that I had an opportunity to speak with. So we had a really good conversation about what is what her journey is and some of the things that she's practicing to build a community within Woodbury. And so I find those conversations fascinating. I was able to talk to Ava Diaz earlier this season, and who's a co-creator or co-producer of Walk the Line and La Raton fashion shows that just occurred last Thursday, which I had an opportunity to attend and really enjoyed it. So this season really it's been all about that. What is bringing these voices of the Twin Cities to life, um, and these different genres of industry. So the next question that I want to get to is someone had asked me about the sponsorship with Kowalski's Markets, and it's our hidden gems segment, and also to the sponsorship with Minnesota Spine and Sport. This segment is sponsored by Kowalski's Markets, where it's all about the joy of good food. And so, um, how the hidden gem segment even came about was, um, in my first season, there was a question that was asked about what's your focus for 2025. And in the second season, I wanted to do something. I wanted to keep that segment, but I wanted to make it not necessarily about leadership or business. I wanted it to be something that was fun and that was community driven, that really showed a different side of someone, where someone hangs out or goes for walks or has, favorite restaurant, all those things that we do outside of work. I wanted to tap into. I didn't know it was going to be, what is your favorite hidden gem, place, event, or experience in the Twin Cities? So I played around with it. Actually, I was playing around with AI, and I was like, I want to come up with the community driven idea, and it listed a bunch of suggestions. So I really liked the hidden gem segment. So I was like, okay, like, so you know, what could I ask? Like, what could I say around it? So I was like, okay, like it's a hidden gem. So like, what's a cool place in the Twin Cities? Because I'm not from here. Like I'm from Metro Detroit, so I don't know all the spots and the cool places that people go to, or walk, or like trails and lakes and restaurants and experiences. Like I've lived here for 7 years, but I don't. But I'm not from here, and I don't know all these places, and so I felt like it was a good way to bring people in the Twin Cities together, because maybe these are places that we can try out, that we can go and maybe meet people. I know that's been a big deal a lot of times here in the cities, is like, meeting different people and going to different places and getting outside of your comfort zone. So I felt like if I could build a community around this hidden gem, that people could try other places. If it's a business, they could go to that business and support that business in the Twin Cities community. Or if it's just an experience, or a walk or a trail that someone's never been on. I never know what people are going to say. But that was the idea behind it. So I was sending out, sponsorship proposals to different, brand companies that I thought would align well with the podcast, and, I'd sent a sponsorship proposal over to Kowalski's. I didn't know that there were it was different sponsorship tiers, so I didn't know which one they were going to pick. It was a naming rights sponsorship, there was a segment sponsorship, and then there's the which is the hidden gem segment sponsorship, and just a general one. And they were interested in the hidden gems one. And so we met, or we talked about it, and it really has turned into a life of its own. Kowalski's Markets is such a great partner for me and supporter of me and my brand, and I'm so appreciative of it. I remember when I first posted the announcement on Instagram, and it's up to 6,000 views, and really that's just a testament to the community and, the support, of the community, and I'm appreciative of that, and I'm grateful for that. We shot a call to action, video inside of Kowalski's Markets, which I really enjoyed doing. I had never done that before, but they, shot the video, and really was another, example of, like, building community. Like, we want to have other people join in on this hidden gem segment. We want people to share their experiences of, what their hidden gem is in the Twin Cities, experience or place or an event, and share it with us on Instagram. Um, and so we were going to, or going are going to, reward, participants with, Twin Cities Leaders apparel, or a gift from Kowalski's. But again, that's that rooted in community, um, DNA, a culture building, bringing people together, being a part of something bigger than just a podcast, building community. That's what that is all about, and I'm really grateful for that. And then with Minnesota Spine and Sport, um, they are, a, rehab clinic here in Woodbury, and, they were interested in sponsoring the mayor's, um, episode, which, um, I was grateful that they, participated as well, and really spoke to, again, just not only, just the support and the investment, goes a long way in the partnership, and again, having great partners be a part of, anything is, I think, is important and essential. So shout out to, Kowalski's Markets and Minnesota Spine and Sport, for their, continued, support. Now, I never thought that I was going to start traveling weekly to, um, my guest hidden gem, um, or their hidden gem answers. And so that wasn't part of the plan. Like, that when I wrote that segment, it wasn't I didn't think like, well, I'm gonna go to these places and then create content around it. Like, that evolved, probably it evolved after heading into the first episode. Um, so, for example, like, I had interviewed Ava probably the second week in August, and her episode was going to drop the last week in August, and so I thought of the idea between when I had taped and then when it was going to drop. And I said, it would be really good content if I actually go to these places and try them out. Because, again, as I said, I'm not from here. And so if there's a cool spot that I haven't been to, like, I'm going to go check it out. I should just go check it out and create content around it. And so that's what I did. So Ava mentioned Andale Taqueria in Richfield, and so I called, the restaurant and told them about the, podcast, and told them about the sponsorship, that it was a sponsored segment, and what my goal was to come in and highlight, their, establishment, and then put it on Instagram and social media to really, platform that business and get more community support around it. And so I went there. I met the manager. Had some tacos, took some pictures, and I posted it a carousel on YouTube, and it has received around 3,500 views. 3,500 views of that segment, of that carousel on Instagram. And I was like, "Wow." Like, okay, like I might be on to something with this. And so the next week or the next episode was with Mayor Ann Burt, and she mentioned these walking trails in Woodbury. Now I live in Woodbury, and so I've walked around my neighborhood and around Kobe Lake, but she was talking about all these cool walking trails, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna try one. I'm just gonna pick a walking trail that I never went to. And so I went to this walking trail, and I walked it, and I just filmed saying, Mayor Burt talked about, you know, visiting Woodbury because of all these different parks and trails. So I decided to, um, go take a walk on one of these different trails. And so I did that, and then she had mentioned this restaurant in Stillwater called the Gast House. So she was like, after you visit all the fun things in Woodbury, you should go over to Stillwater to this place called the Gast House. So I went over there, same thing. Took some pictures with Jim, who is the owner of the restaurant over there, and they had some food and had some conversation. Took some pictures and posted that. That one is up to 15, 1,600 views on Instagram. And then with Dr. Rand, Sarah Rand, she had mentioned the Trebelou wine bar in Uptown. So I went there, so every week I just started going to different places. Dr. Peju Solaran mentioned Como, the Como Zoo and Observatory. I went there last week. And so, like, it just has taken on a life of its own. And all um, these carousel segments are getting between 2,000 and 3,500 views a week. And so I just felt like, man, like this is really helping these businesses, it's spotlighting these businesses. It's given me an opportunity to travel to places and go to places I haven't been before, and I had never been to these places, and so I was excited to do it. And so I'm looking forward to going to the other places, because I never know what they're gonna say. Um, and so I'm really excited about how that has turned out. So again, every gym has its story, and the fact that it's sponsored by Kowalski's is really just a testament to the family and the brand and the support of what we're trying to accomplish here. And then, one of my actually, a couple of people asked me this question. A student had asked me this question, um, and also, who else asked me? It was a student, and actually, it was a guest. It was Dr. Peju Solomon. She had asked me, like, how do I go about um, getting my guest, booking my guest? So, I was watching this Barbara Walters special yesterday. I saw it. It's been on before. It's on Hulu, but it's called "Tell Me Everything," and it talked about how she got into when she was getting her interviews with people. She would have bookers, and back in the '90s, and she was interviewing all of the top politicians and entertainers and athletes, and she had all the best stories, but she had bookers that were helping her. So I'm my own booker. To answer this question, I have like an idea. Like for this season, I knew I wanted to focus on multi-dimensional leaderships. I know I wanted to have someone in fashion. I wanted to have someone in government. I knew I wanted to have someone in education. I knew I wanted to discuss conflict resolution. I knew that was a topic that I wanted to tap into. I've had an idea of like what I wanted the theme to be in my first season hosting solo. And so it's been in those genres or disciplines or industries of fashion and higher education and government and sport um, and really like community like community spaces. Um, and so some of the interviews or some of the people I or that are on the podcast are referrals. For example, Ava Diaz was a referral from Haley Olmsted, who is the editor of Woodbury Magazine, who I've worked with um, on who featured Woodbury Magazine. Um, were featured Twin Cities leaders in Woodbury Magazine back in July. Um, conflict resolution office. I work at the University of Minnesota, so I was familiar with. I wasn't familiar with Peju and Max, but I was familiar with that office. Mayor Ann Burt, I had reached out to her, um, and she had won the Emerging Leader Award back in June, and Talia McWright, who is a writer for the St. Paul Pioneer Press, was doing a feature on my podcast for season 2, and I was doing some research with her on her and came across her article on Mayor Ann Burt, and so that prompted me to reach out to Mayor Ann Burt because I want to tap into that Emerging Leader Award and highlight that. And then let's see, Dr. Sarah Rand, colleague of mine for many years, that we've done work together. So it was a natural fit and conversation with us. Dr. Schreiber was someone who had reached out to me. And then we had lunch and really hit it off really well. And I really liked his story about the core values piece. And so, really, oftentimes it's people that I have in mind. It's people who come to me or someone who might refer me, depending on what it is that I am looking to accomplish. And so it's not easy, booking guests on top of being a tennis coach, a professor, and all the things that I do. So I try to shoot or record two or three videos or episodes at a time, but also like to leave time for like a guest or an idea to organically come my way. Um, for example, an upcoming episode is going to be with Lois Arterberry, who is the head women's tennis coach at the University of Minnesota. And I really, just again, I had never really thought about this originally at the beginning of the season, but I said, "Hey, we're two tennis coaches. I'm a high school tennis coach. She is a collegiate tennis coach. Wouldn't that be a fun um, episode to tap into, like how we're building culture and really developing these young leaders into these young student athletes and becoming the leaders of tomorrow?" I thought that would be a fascinating conversation. So that is coming up this week, or coming up later next week, I believe it is. So that's how I choose my guests. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Some wins that I've had. Really thankful for the Woodbury Magazine article. Really grateful for the St. Paul Pioneer Press coverage. Really grateful for just the feedback that people that I talk to just throughout my day has given me. People that come to mind. Brittany over at Target, who I see all the time, and my Marcus, who works at or Maurice, I'm sorry, that works over um at Lifetime Fitness, just people in my space, students, friends, family, just really appreciative of it. So I don't want to ramble. I want to keep it to 30 minutes, but wanted to just thank you, Twin Cities. We are just getting started. I appreciate your support. I thank you so much for going on this journey with me, and I will see you next week. Please, you can follow me on Instagram and on YouTube and on TikTok now. Now, trying to get better at some TikToks, and I'm working on something really big coming up around an ad campaign that I'm going to share details with you coming soon. Okay, have a good week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.